opportunities for financial funded schemes. So it is my humble request to everyone, if you have any query related to this, please very feel free to connect with the Colonel B. Venkat. Most welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Rajesh, sir, thanks a lot. It's absolutely an honor to coming on your virtual platform. Am I audible very clear, sir?
Yes.
Sir, yes, sir. Sir, give me 2 minutes. Give me 2 minutes, sir.
Yes.
We would like to read
Bekharji, go ahead. Please.
Sir, Soumya ma'am, you are there? I request Soumya ma'am to please read a brief biography of Colonel B. Venkat, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, respected sir and ma'am. Good afternoon, Venkat, sir. I am Soumya Tripathi. So it's a session 9 scheduled now on AICTE Quality Initiative and Opportunities for Financially Funded Schemes by Colonel B. Venkat, sir. So about Venkat, sir, he is a serving army officer from the technical branch, Corps of Electronics and Mechanical Engineering. He has done his mechanical engineering from Army Institutes. He has more than 30 years of service experience and served in all possible appointments of command staff and instructional. At AICTE, he was instrumental in fine-tuning faculty development, related issues, and release of grants. Colonel Venkat sir has a unique distinction of representation India as its technical military attached to Russia. The officer also has expertise in AICTE's quality initiatives like NITTT, that is National Initiative for Technical Teachers Training, implementation of examination reforms, AICTE, students learning assessment, and processes of implementation of NEP, that is National Education Policy 2020. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Great honor to be actually speaking, be invited on your virtual platform. And I take this opportunity to thank everybody. I take this opportunity to thank you, Madan Mohan Malviya, University of Technology, Gorakhpur, for giving us a chance to be coming on your platform and be educating you much more. But before that, I would like to thank everybody for being on the initiative of AICTE, that is continuous improvement of teachers, that is the faculty members, towards their gradual improvement and aligning to the necessities and needs as to what is spoken as per the National Education Policy 2020. So NEP 2020 was the one of the biggest aspects which came out in the year 29 July 2020, and when it came out, it has drastically changed the complete scenario as to how we should be seeing education, how we should be moving towards implementing the various aspects of education. At AICTE, I was singularly responsible for the same on behalf of AICTE. I had connect which was going right connection with the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Skill Development, UGC, NCTE, NCVTE, and CBSE. So got to understand that AICTE's financially funded schemes underwent modification, moderation, amendments, changes, and some new initiatives and schemes came out, and all of them came out primarily speaking to make sure that we are aligned as per the NEP 2020 mandate. So without wasting any further time, I would like to bring out immediately this particular subject of financially funded schemes and initiatives. Our faculty members and various fellow colleagues and research scholars who are connected go through what I would be speaking. I would not be showing any set presentation, but I would be speaking in the manner the schemes keep coming. And because I was handling this subject for 3 years, so it's pertinent for you people to understand it subsequently so that you will be in a position to apply and take benefit of. We have the whole schemes divided into 3 major things. One is called as faculty related schemes, other is institute related schemes, and the third.
Hello. Hello. Oh.
I think somebody needs to unmute yourself. Thank you, thanks a lot. And the third goes by the name of student development schemes. When we talk of the faculty development schemes are further subdivided into multiple things. I would start with faculty development programs, that is the FDPs. FDPs basically go for a 2 weeks duration. In the context of the scheme as what it has been laid out, it's a face-to-face 2 weeks, wherein teaching and learning is imparted to the fellow faculty members. The schemes are benefited and given to an institutions wherein a fellow faculty member has to be a PI. The best part about this is that a faculty member who is a PI gets to choose a topic, then coordinate the topic, find fellow resource people the way we are doing this program. Only thing is that this program qualifies as a 1 week training program called as STTPs. That program is a 2 weeks training program. AICTE funds 7 lakh rupees maximum for a 2 weeks training program to be done in a face-to-face mode. That is as far as the faculty development program FDP is concerned. However, over a period of time, we understood that sparing a faculty member for 2 weeks, continuous 2 weeks, and then make them undergo training and learning is not that easy. So what we did, we came out with an abridged version and we came out with a smaller version of this training program. And when we came out with a smaller version, it was called as short-term training program, and that is of 1 week duration. Rest all terms, conditions remaining the same. This 1 week's training program is financially funded scheme of AICTE, and we give maximum of 3 lakh rupees. This is also in a face-to-face mode. However, seeing the conditions and the pandemic which we went through in the last 2 years, we decided at AICTE that education is the subject which needs to be continued. And for making it a continued aspect, we went in an online, and a faculty development program of an online for 2 weeks was limited and capped to 1.86 lakh. And similarly, a 1 week's training program was kept at 93,000, breakdown of which is available with you people. And exactly on the similar lines, we have this program which is now being conducted. These are not the only 2 initiatives and programs which go for faculty developments are concerned. On similar lines, we went about in a memorandum of understanding with we went about in a memorandum of understanding with 22 technical universities across the country, Madan Mohan Malviya University of Technology being one of them. And what we have done is we gave them 10 training programs of 1 week duration each for the teachers, 1 for the librarians, and 4 we gave it for the non-teachers training program. Now the difference between this and others, teachers training and librarian are for 1 week, whereas the non-teachers training program is for 2 weeks duration. Mind you, this 1 week's teachers training program and the librarian training program can be done in online mode. And that is exactly, we gave directions. So 93,000 into 11 comes to 10,23,000, which goes to the university. And non-teachers training program is for, understandably, at AICTE, we appreciate that for overall growth of an institute and for the students, it is very, very important that a complete holistic picture of education is taken. And when we speak about taking a complete holistic picture of education, it is not only the teachers, it are people who are associated alongside teachers. We have workshop superintendents, we have lab attendants, we have your staff, administrative or financial. Each one of them needs to also understand the latest developments which are happening in their respective fields. And if understood this in a correct manner, they also need to be giving certain bit of training. So this non-teachers training program is basically meant for them. Necessarily, this program will be done in a face-to-face mode. It will not be done in online mode. That is the direction which has been given. AICTE funds 3 lakh rupees. Another 3 lakh is expected to come from the university. And university share is very clearly spelled out. It is only for boarding and lodging. Rest all honorarium aspects and giving a kind of resource materials to the participants and inviting resource people is on the budget head of AICTE. So that's exactly how we have 15 training programs which go to these 22 technical universities. Going ahead with this initiative, we also understood that there is, except Assam Technical University, there is no technical university in the Northeast. So for the Northeast, AICTE came into an MOU with NITs, and there also we have given a similar nature of program. So even though we given it at a smaller scale, so instead of 15 programs, we have given there only 4 programs each to each and every NIT. That's not all. Again, we have to see and keep it into consideration that the numbers of faculty across the country is phenomenally high, whether they are in a government institutes, whether they're in autonomous, whether they're in private, or whether they're in semi-funded institutes. So we at AICT went into another understanding with a premier organization called as ISTE, Indian Society for Technical Engineers. And when we went into an MOU with ISTE, we gave another 250 programs to ISTE. We fund the programs to ISTE, and then these programs are jointly conducted towards the development of the faculty. These are also 1-week training programs. So mind you, the number of training programs for the faculty range from 2 weeks to 1 week. And there are a whole lot of training programs which have been given. So the opportunities for a faculty to upgrade his knowledge as far as the technical aspects is concerned, enhance his skills, are phenomenal. It's just a question of you finding the right course where you think that you should be enrolling and learning. It is not only about enrolling and learning. It is also about conducting an event. It is also about coordinating an activity like the way it is being done today. Today's example, this is the third time I'm giving it, is to make you understand that all these programs are conducted in a similar manner. Now comes an important aspect as to what is the plus point of these programs. As far as AICTE Gazette notification for pay and promotion are concerned, all these training programs are applicable for the purposes of CAS. A 2 weeks training program is taken as a 1-week FDP, and an STTP of 1 week is taken as a half FDP. So for the purposes of promotion, all of you are supposed to be doing 2 FDPs. So either you can get enrolled into 2 FDPs or you can get enrolled into 4 STTPs. That is what is the benefit of these programs when you have a joint certificate which is coming out from the training program, that you can use it for the purposes of CAS. Let us not be limited to these aspects of only training programs. Now comes a very important aspect as to personal enhancement and personal growth. As far as education is concerned, as far as your higher academic qualification is concerned, my sincere request to everybody is that AICTE has a scheme called as QIP. I don't know how many of you are aware of this scheme, but this has been by far the most important scheme of AICTE, and this is a scheme which we celebrated its Golden Jubilee last year, because that's the only scheme of the Government of India, erstwhile MHRD and now MOE, which has gone continuous non-stop without a single year's break. This scheme allows fellow faculty members to upgrade their academic qualifications by means of undergoing PhD. Now, this scheme is divided into 3 major aspects. One of the portion of the scheme happens to be called as engineering and technology. The second goes for pharmacy, and the third goes for polytechnic. So if the people who are listening today are from any of the disciplines, mind you, you got an opportunity to do your PhD through QIP scheme. The benefit of doing PhD through QIP scheme is, number one, AICTE gives you monthly scholarship to the tune of 15,000 rupees. Should you be selected to undergo PhD through the QIP scheme? And the QIP centers across the country are 106 today in number, with IITs, NITs, IISc, Bangalore being the identified QIP centers. So mind you, you have an opportunity to undergo PhD at any of these national importance, institutes of national importance. It's an opportunity which should not be left. So for all those faculty members who are yet to think about undergoing PhD, I think there cannot be a better opportunity than this. And the plus point is that in addition to scholarship of 15,000 rupees per month, which is applicable to you for a period of 36 months, you also continue to draw your pay and allowances from your parent institute, from whichever institute you would be coming to do PhD. In addition to this, we give a yearly contingency grant of another 15,000 rupees, and we also gives you a pre-PhD component and pre-PhD period wherein TADA is also paid to the candidate. Now this clause of pre-PhD is a unique clause which does not exist in any other initiative of the Government of India. Pre-PhD component is primarily speaking given for the purposes of a candidate to identify, get to understand the institute, the laboratory, the wherewithal, the material, the resources, and then form his topic so that he will be in a position to actually speaking carry out the PhD component in that particular institute stroke that university. That is what is the QIP all about. Last year, we carried out an amendment to this QIP to include that should a teacher get selected for undergoing PhD in any of the QIP centers, whether for engineering, whether for pharmacy or for polytechnic, he or she gets an opportunity to spend 1 semester, preferably 3rd or 4th semester abroad. That means if your QIP center is having an MOU with any of the foreign universities, then you have an opportunity for a semester-based research activity that you can do abroad in that university with whom there is an existing MOU between the QIP center where you finally would be going for the purposes of PhD and the foreign university. There is a small variation which is also there. We have also a scheme called as QIP Foreign University. Should any of the foreign university be in the Times and the QS ranking in the top 200, and should you apply for undergoing PhD there, and should you be selected, then you can apply for the scheme called as QIP Foreign University. AICTE pays presently we pay 25,000 rupees per month for the first year. We are proposing changes and we are proposing that this also be made for full 3 years to make it that much more attractive. But my idea of letting you people know these schemes and initiatives is single, that people should at least be aware that the number of initiatives and schemes taken by AICTE towards making a teacher much better educated, learned, and much more capable and competent. This is how we make teacher academically enhance his knowledge by the scheme called as QIP and QIP Foreign University. Understanding that the teacher's profession involves teaching and learning and at the same time research. So how can AICTE be left behind in research? We have a scheme by the name called as Research Promotion Scheme, RPS. When we say that we have a scheme of research promotion scheme, please appreciate and understand that this allows a faculty member to apply for this scheme, provided that they have a subject which is of importance, subject which is surely going to be of national recognition, subject which is a national need, and which is going to be bringing out some useful product. That is what is research all about. AICTE grants 25 lakh rupees to any teacher who gets selected for the purposes of taking the benefit out of the research promotion scheme. Now, the research promotion scheme mandatorily needs to be having a PI. There has to be mandatorily two co-PIs associated. One co-PI should be from the same institute, need not necessarily from the same department. And the second co-PI has to be mandatorily from the industry. When we say that the second co-PI has to be from the industry, this is to involve or this is to incorporate the industrial cooperation and collaboration between the academia and the industry, something which was not there earlier. We have included this from last year onwards, that there is a mandatory requirement of an industry representative to be there for the purposes of carrying out research. To make it that much more easy and to make it that much more possible that every faculty member across the country can take and avail this benefit, we have divided this RPS into 5. There are 5 branches of research promotion scheme. When I say branches, means RPS scheme itself is divided into 5 portions. One is RPS general, wherein everybody can apply. All institutes, whether you are a Tier 1 institute, Tier 2, Tier 3, whether you are NBA accredited or not, everybody can apply. However, the competition is wholesome competition. Number two, understanding that bulk of AICTE approved institutions are in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And we are yet to be having NBA accreditation as far as the departments are concerned. We introduced a scheme called as RPS Rural. When we say RPS Rural, all the institutes who are in the rural belt of country as notified by Niti Aayog can apply for RPS Rural and yet gain the benefit of 25 lakh rupees for research. And best part is that you don't have to be NBA accredited in this. So there's a waiver of NBA accreditation, and quite obviously there is a little bit of waiver as far as the screening criteria is also concerned. The third happens to be RPS management. There is a separate scheme for the management discipline, and here instead of 25 lakhs, we give 5 lakh rupees because management does not require procurement of any major equipment. It is basically survey related activities as compared to RPS, whether rural or general, wherein there is a requirement of procurement of equipment for the purposes of carrying out research. And hence, the 25 lakhs which is being granted to any PI for conducting research is divided into two major components in the ratio of 75:25, with 75% going for the procurement of non-recurring equipment and 25% going for the purchases of recurring. When I say recurring means the equipment or accessories which are supposed to be bought towards sustaining the main equipment which has been bought as a non-recurring. I hope the difference between non-recurring and recurring is very clear. Recurring also entails travel, attending conferences, webinar. So there is a huge benefit. There is a huge academic jump to that particular PI who gets benefited from RPS scheme. This is a scheme which is faculty-oriented scheme meant for the purposes of research. We have another variant of this which is called as RPS Northeast region, presently not applicable to your geographical location, but should there be some faculty member who are connected from the Northeast, you people should apply for RPS Northeast, NER. And last, there is a scheme called as RPS ADF, that is a doctoral fellowship for all those students who take benefit from AICTE as part of AICTE doctoral fellowship. You and your guide together can apply for this research promotion scheme under the head RPS ADF, financially funding remaining the same, that is 25 lakh rupees. So that is what is research and the research related financial assistance which is given by AICTE. Research not only is limited to carrying out research, we need to be promoting research. We need to be giving an opportunity to faculty members even to carry out or conduct or even be part of various conferences, webinar, and hence we have a scheme of AICTE called as AICTE Professional Development Scheme, or it used to be called as earlier Travel Grant Scheme. This Travel Grant Scheme allows a faculty member to travel internationally, that is abroad, to attend any conference, workshop, seminar, webinar, symposium, not as a guest or an attendee, but only in case if suppose his or her paper has been accepted for the purposes of presentation. Maximum AICTE gives 1.5 lakh rupees. We have divided this whole travel grant scheme into Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D, subject to the countries, and the maximum we give 1.5 lakh rupees. This scheme also allows faculty members to attend various conferences and workshops within the country also. One needs to go through the scheme document which is there on the AICTE website, and then you will be much more aware of this particular scheme. Once in every 3 years, you can avail benefit from this scheme. That is also another catch point which a lot of us don't understand and don't read. You can avail benefit of this scheme once in every 3 years. So should you apply now and take a benefit of it in this year, you can again take back in the year 2025. So please go through the scheme documents and make sure that you travel world and you travel far and wide, get to see the best practices that is being followed in the multiple international universities, come back and implement those in your workplaces. That is what is this travel grant scheme is all about. That is why travel grant scheme and research related activities go hand in hand and they go together. A very important scheme which we started very recently, that is in the 2021, that was AICT Sfurti scheme. Sfurti stands for Scheme for Funding of Regeneration of Traditional Industries. We need to understand why this scheme came out. The scheme came out because the National Education Policy speaks about vocational education and integration of vocational education to general education. Should you be doing integration of vocational to general education? Quite obviously, you need to be connecting with the local artisans, micro industries, and then try to accumulate or collaborate with them by bringing into the education. And once you connect with the locals, once you connect with the society, you also go as per the mandate of Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. Should you be doing that, there is a gross increase in the GDP of the country also, and this is what is mandated. Education should result in the increase of GDP. So this scheme is about teaching our faculty members about how to write a DPR, detailed project report, as to how to establish a micro industry. So we got in touch with one of the finest MSMEs. There is a company which is there on board of Ministry of Education and MSME, and we got into an MOU with them. And after going into an MOU with them, then we have this scheme which is coming out, in which we train fellow faculty members on how to write a DPR. After writing a DPR, which we started off, initially we went about with the pilot project for the state of Nagaland, Rajasthan and Orissa. It's a matter of great pride and honor when I say that 5 of our fellow faculty members who wrote the DPR, some of them being from polytechnics, their DPR project was approved, and now a micro industry related to what their project was about. Some of the project was about textiles, some was cardamom, some of them was sugarcane. An amount of 3 to 5 crore rupees is being released for the establishment of a micro industry next to that institute to which that particular faculty member belongs. And the organization with whom AICT has gone into MOU happens to be IMEDF. Now, this is a wonderful scheme, a wonderful initiative, which not only teaches our fellow faculty members, it is also applicable to students. But it is the role and importance of the faculty to understand that you are visibly enhancing your opportunities. You are going towards entrepreneurship. You are going towards connect with the society. You are leading to generating employment. There is a multiple opportunities should a micro industry be next to co-located. Students can undergo internships. Subsequently, the students can also be placed as jobs in the same industries. There is a connect with the society and there is an overall upliftment. So AICT schemes primarily are meant, even though for faculty members, but when a connect with the immediate society neighborhood happens, it also brings about the changes and upliftment of the people as far as their day-to-day living is concerned. We have 2 more very identical schemes also for the faculty development programs, and we call them as AICT Distinguished Chair Professor and AICT INAE Distinguished Visiting Professor. Now, there is not much difference between these two, but the only relevance and important is these are prominent academicians or industrialists who have been recognized at national or international level. AICT connects each one of them with your institutes. They will come, they will give talk, they will give lectures, and these lectures and talks are self-motivating. The lectures and talks are coming from people of that caliber, and very much there is an increase and there will be improvement in overall engineering aspects, the subjects and the day-to-day functioning. So these schemes are called at DCP and DVP. Should the institutes be interested in availing the benefits of these schemes, you should be applying these schemes that you want to be also connected with a DCP and a DVP. Ways of applying are you got to go back to the AICTE website, and then there is an opportunity for you to write it down and then say that I wish to get connected with one of the DCP. That is how you avail the benefit out of these schemes. Most of the faculty development and related schemes I have I've tried to cover up. Should there be anything left out, I'll again come back, because I don't speak out of any sequence. I speak the way the subject keeps coming. Thus, another set of schemes which are meant for institutes happen to be called as institute development schemes. Institute development schemes are, to name a few, some of them happen to be called as, like the first one is called as ModRob. And as the name suggests, ModRob is modification and removal of obsolescence. When we speak about ModRob, this scheme and the research promotion scheme are somewhat identical. The difference being that here we grant you 20 lakh rupees, and this scheme is more or less related to you modifying or replacing your equipment which are there in your laboratories. Over a period of time, the equipment which you're having in the laboratory has outlived its life, and there's a necessity of changing it. So the latest and new generation equipment can be bought out of this scheme. The scheme is valid for a period of 2 years. AICTE gives 20 lakh rupees. And here also, to understand that every institute cannot compete with each other, we have a ModRob. General, we have ModRob for Polytechnique. So the Polytechnique institutes can be, actually speaking, competing in isolation, and that is how they benefit out of this scheme. Another very important scheme which comes as an institutional development happens to be going as AICTE Idea Lab scheme. Now this AICTE Idea Lab scheme is also an offshoot which has come out post the NEP 2020. NEP 2020 advocates multidisciplinary concept of education, wherein a single discipline cannot be seen as surviving. And an education, if suppose, is to be given in a multidisciplinary format with a fair mix of basic sciences and humanities and open electives, with the itself collaboration with the industry and disciplines mixing with each other, the Idea Lab scheme breaks this particular vertical silos of independent laboratories of mechanical, electronics, electrical, computers, or any other department, and then comes about a common laboratory which subsequently can be then used for the basis of carrying out research and for the purposes of making useful products. So this scheme, AICTE gives 55 lakhs to the institutes who are benefiting, and we expect a similar nature grant to be coming, or the institutes to getting it from the industry. Either you can get it in kind or you can get it in cash, but a similar nature amount or an equipment has to be coming in from the industry. So this project becomes worth 1 crore and 1 crore plus, out of which AICTE's funding is 55 lakhs. This is also a worthwhile scheme. Some of the faculty members who are keen enough to understand this scheme should visit the website to understand as to how you can apply. Another scheme of institute happened to be called as Grant for Organizing Conference. Now, when I say the grant for organizing conference, this means we provide the grants wherein the institute can then conduct conferences. And here we have two types of conferences, whether it's a national or an international conference. And the financial funding for both of them will vary a little bit, with AICTE giving a maximum grant of 3 lakh rupees, wherein an equal amount has to be funded by the institute and an equal amount has to be funded by the sponsor through sponsorship. So a total funding of this particular scheme happens to be 9 lakh rupees, wherein the AICTE's portion is 3 lakh rupees. That's how we see this particular scheme rolling out, that is Grant for Organizing Conference. Every institute has some kind of a student club. A student club is basically to make students take a holistic education beyond the textbooks. And this kind of student club is also promoted. If you go through the National Education Policy, it talks about holistic education. There is a full chapter on professional education. So leading to professional education, AICTE also supports the Students Club and the venture in multiple fields by a scheme called as SPICES. SPICES. The scheme is basically meant for supporting a club culture, whether it be science, whether it be music, arts, drama, whether it be latest these days we see robotics club or something. So basically, AICTE funds these clubs, and institutes who are benefiting, they need to be implementing it and then putting up a report for asking additional money. Some of them who have not yet benefited can apply for the scheme and take benefit out of the scheme. At the same time, when we speak about Institute Development Fund schemes, there is another scheme by the name of Hostel. This is also a very important scheme because it cannot be possible that every student be a day scholar. There are students who are not from premier background. There are students who are not from tier 1 cities, but they have to come from tier 2, tier 3 to these cities for the purposes of learning or other way around. So for them to make them accommodative and to make them comfortable, AICTE scheme of Hostel. This scheme, primarily speaking, speaks about hostel for SC/ST children. So there is a minimum qualification of 150 SC/ST children passing out every year, and then you are benefiting from this scheme should you be applying. AICTE funds 3.25 crore for the purposes of establishing hostel. We minimum require that there will be 60 students who would be accommodated on successful completion of this particular hostel. We used to earlier be giving 3 crore to this. We increased it to 3.25, realizing that the fact that a hostel should also have facilities such as recreational facilities, which you can ultimately convert it as your gymnasium, computer center, or library. It is up to the respective institute. So that additional 25 lakhs has also been given. So this is what is hostel scheme all about. There is a variant of this scheme of hostel, which goes by the name hostel for NER region. There is a different rules, regulation, guidelines certifying the Northeast region because of shortage of land, and hence there it is proposed the hostel to go vertical rather than be spread, whereas in plains we still go by the concept of actually be making it in plains in a horizontal format rather than go vertical. It is up to the institutes to give them based on their estimate and based on the design which they get from the CPWD. The institutes can apply for this scheme, and should you be applying for this scheme, you get a benefit of 3.25 crores. These are the multiple institute development schemes. And I talk about now the student development schemes. Student development schemes are basically meant to give an opportunity to students not only from the tier 1 cities, but from tier 2 and tier 3 cities to have an equal go at education. This refers the chapter on inclusive education. The 5 pillars on which the national education policy has been made is access, equity, equality, affordability, and accountability. So these are the 5 aspects which have been made. And based on this, there are multiple schemes of students. One of them happens to be Pragati. There is Saksham. Now, Pragati and Saksham are 2 schemes. Pragati scheme allows a student, this is for girl child. It gives 50,000 rupees for both diploma and UG per year. And we have 5,000 vacancies for Pragati, 5,000 for UG and diploma. So total 10,000 girl child in UG and diploma across get 50,000 rupees per year for 3 years. This is something which needs to be understood. And this is what we need to tell our students, that you need to be aware of these initiatives and schemes, and they need to apply. If the students are not aware, it's the responsibility of the faculty member to make sure that they at least know these schemes. So on similar lines, what I talk of Pragati is a scheme called Saksham. By understanding in Hindi definition of Saksham itself is, it is for Divyang. It is for the girl children who are in Divyang category. And hence, here there is no upper limit of the number of students who can apply. Every student who is in the Divyang category, Government of India notification for classification of Divyang happens to be 40% disability. So every girl child who is into this category of 40% disability can avail benefit from the Saksham scheme. So there are 2 schemes called as Pragati and Saksham. And the 3rd scheme is called as PG scheme, wherein all the students who are undergoing post-graduation can avail a financial benefit of 12,400 rupees per month for their post-graduation period. And here the thing is, earlier we used to be having a concept that the scholarship was being given without keeping a track of the progress of the students. Nowadays, we are now keeping a track on their performance, and accordingly, there is a proposal for the variation in scholarship based on the performance of a student who is taking or making the benefit of PG scheme. Another very important scheme is called as ADF, AICTE Doctoral Fellowship. Please appreciate and understand, when I was speaking about faculty, I spoke about a scheme called as QIP. QIP gave an opportunity to teachers to undergo higher education or higher academic qualification, that was PhD. Here, ADF is for research scholars who wish to undergo higher academic qualification and wish to undergo PhD. So the ADF scheme gives students or research scholars a financial assistance today of a grant of 42,500 per month for a period of 3 years, should they be selected as an ADF student in any of the nominated ADF centers. I should be telling you here that the ADF centers are your technical universities. All the technical universities have been nominated as ADF centers. And because they have been nominated as ADF centers, the guideline for recruitment or guidelines for making students avail ADF facility is based on the university norms and regulation. So the students who are applying for this need to also apply through ADF scheme for purposes of getting higher academic qualification. That is for the research scholars. Now, this is a very important scheme for enhancing the academic qualification of students. Similar to travel grant scheme, which was there for a faculty member, we have a scheme called as AICTE INAE travel grant for students. This we are executing through INAE. And what we are doing is, this is allowed for students. So the students can travel. Only difference between the travel grant and this is, students can travel only within the country for the purposes of attending workshop or seminar or conferences. However, there's a very important scheme, and this scheme goes by the name of SSPCA, sending students for participation in competitions abroad. Meaning of this scheme is, we have seen that we have technical brilliance in each and every institute at the level of students who come out with very beautiful technical projects. At the end of every bachelor's or a master's, we have a tech fest. In the tech fest, when the respective solutions come out by a group, syndicates come out with their products. Some of the projects which come out qualify at district level, some at state level, and some at national level. The projects which are capable enough and can be taking part in any international events and should, based on an application from that institute, their project gets approved for participation in any international event. AICTE gives 10 lakh rupees to that particular institute for making one faculty member and 10 students, maximum 10 students, to go abroad to display their project, display their product. And this is an opportunity which should be made use of by each and every institute, by the students, to give them larger exposure for international events and international activities. These are the multiple financially funded and financially related activities. I don't speak like the way I keep saying, I'm not speaking in any sequence. So it's just the way, but I have tried to tell you as a faculty, then as an institute, and then as a student. Besides these financially funded schemes, now comes a very important scheme which is called as Margdarshak. Now, Margdarshak is a scheme which was designed to improve the overall functioning and structure leading to accreditation of institutes. Now, this scheme has two major variants. One is called as mentor institutes, another is called as mentee institutes. Mentor institutes are those institutes which have more than 60% of their departments accredited. And mentee institutes are those institutes which feel themselves that with little bit of assistance and support, they can push or jump or elevate themselves from non-accreditation to accreditation, and hence AICTE has got this scheme. So the institutes who wish to get accredited should register as a mentee. Institutes who feel that they have reasonable accreditation to 60% of their department should register as mentor institutes. AICTE supports these mentor institutes by funding them 50 lakh rupees. This 50 lakh rupees is basically given for the purpose that when they register as a mentor and they are nominated as a mentor institute, certain mentee institutes within their geographical vicinity are made to be connected with them. And once we have this connect, which is developed between a mentor institute and a mentee institute, it becomes the responsibility of the mentor institute in 2 years' time, reasonable improvement towards accreditation to the mentee institute should be seen. So there is requirement of in-house faculty members from the mentor institutes to continuously visit these mentee institutes, give them information, knowledge, support them by means of curriculum improvement, assessment requirements, changes, the new norms of education as to how pedagogical aspects of education are given, everything and anything which is mandated in accreditation. That is the responsibility of the mentor institutes. What we also connect with mentor institutes are called as very senior retired, preferably retired professors who have carried out accreditation or have a basic knowledge or understanding of accreditation. And then we connect with these mentor institutes, and mentor institutes utilize their services also. Complete financial support for their movement, travel, and honorarium is given by AICTE. Now, this is a beautiful scheme which should be made use of by all institutes who wish to get accreditation. This also classifies as a financially funded scheme. Once we have all the financially funded scheme at one place, we need to be having a very quick understanding and appreciating the various quality initiatives which have also been taken, which each one of us only benefit. One of the biggest initiative taken by AICTE happens to be NITTT, as what ma'am was telling in the beginning, that I was handling that particular scheme, National Initiative for Technical Teachers Training. This has become mandatory for all teachers below 5 years of service that they undergo this. There are 8 modules. Each one of them is mandatory. Teachers have to compulsorily clear 8 modules followed by 4 weeks of industrial training and 1 semester-based supervised mentoring. This collectively, when it comes to an end, the teacher is regularized and is fit for promotion. Presently, the scheme is applicable for teachers below 5 years. However, very recently on 7th of January only, AICTE, we released another 12 modules, and these 12 modules were the higher modules. When I'm talking the higher modules, that means these higher modules are applicable for assistant professors and lecturers, more than 5 years of service, till the rank of associate professor. That means for the promotion from assistant to associate and associate to professor, mandatorily conducting higher modules is a must. 12 modules are presently there on the domain. However, there's a requirement of doing any 6 modules. Out of them, 2 modules are called as mandatory modules, and rest 4 can be chosen by the respective candidates towards their successful completion. Only thing that we have kept is, because they are senior teachers, we have said that industrial training and supervised mentoring can be left out as far as associate professors are concerned. But as far as assistant professors and lecturers in polytechnics are concerned, this is a must that they still need to undergo supervised mentoring and 4 weeks of industrial training. This is what is National Initiative for Technical Teachers Training all about. Website is nittt.ac.in. One needs to go through that at any other point of time. Should the opportunity be coming, I will be explaining to you at length as to what is NITTT and how to register and how to undergo. Another very important initiative which AICTE has taken is called as AICTE Students Learning Assessment, called as PARAK. Now this program came out with a genesis that AICTE carried out a study with Stanford University. When we carried out the study with Stanford University, we appreciated and got the results saying that for whatever reasons our students were found, they're a little bit handicapped when it comes to application-oriented activities. Our students were found to be fairly good enough in theoretical, but when it came to application and understanding the concepts, our students were not found at par. The study carried out of Indian students with Chinese and Russian students, and both the categories, Chinese and Russian students were a little bit ahead of our Indian students. Another very important aspect which came out of this study through Stanford was that education is not only about theoretical education of an engineering discipline. Education, in addition to the theoretical aspects of engineering discipline, is also about aptitude. And when we speak of aptitude, it is conduct, mannerisms, behavior, your potential, your verbal, non-verbal skills, your social compatibility. So all these things collectively together with education makes an individual professional. And this is something which is lacking in our education system. So AICTE has come out with AICTE Students Learning Assessment called as PARAK. And in PARAK today, we have more than 1.5 lakh multiple choice questions. When I speak about 1.5 lakh multiple choice questions, these questions spread across the engineering disciplines, mechanical, electronic, electrical, computers, and civil. It spreads across the management for both MBA and PGDM. It is applicable for diploma students, the UG students, for PG students, for PGDM students. It is also today in the process of getting extended laterally to both sides. That is, one side we are going to the school, and a second side we are going even to non-technical institutes. That is, we are connecting with UGC so as to also get multiple basic sciences and humanities, non-technical subjects also into our fold. The purpose of this is this 1.5 lakh worth of questions today will be continuously improving and increasing. A student needs to register and he can take an assessment. Whenever a student takes an assessment, it's highly confidential and it is not an examination. Repeat, I'm again repeating, it is not an examination. It is just an assessment which makes students understand and come to understanding that where is he standing. Whether he is reasonable, he is good, he is average, he is very good in academics, that is in engineering discipline, or he is good in aptitude. So the assessment report will be generated accordingly. The engineering disciplines are further subdivided into multiple heads. For example, mechanical engineering has questions for both second, third, and fourth year, with first year questions being common between all the 5 disciplines. In each year subsequently for second year, third year, or fourth year, the subject is further divided into 10 subspecializations. So you will be having, when you go to the portal, you would be seeing that a second year mechanical, second year civil, second year electronic, computer, each one of them is having multiple subspecializations within the specializations. So that is the beauty of this particular portal by the name PARAK portal of AICTE, that a student can do multiple assessments and can keep seeing his improvement. And then the whole activity has been done in such a manner that the employability prospects of a student at the end of his graduation increases, because this portal has been made in collaboration with the best edtech companies, the best companies who come for placement, and utilizing the services of multiple faculty members across the country for making these multiple choice questions. So that is the way this portal has been designed. I would request everybody to go to the portal. This is not only applicable for students, this is also applicable for faculty members. Faculty members can also take their assessment, and generally they can understand as to where do they stand. It has a self mechanism of improvement wherein a faculty member, when he takes assessment, also has been given right and option that he can also rate the question based on the star rating. The lesser the stars a question will be getting continuously, it will be understood that this question is not suitable and will automatically be deleted. So there's a product improvement which is an inbuilt into this question. I would request everybody to go through this. That is how you will enhance and understand the subject much better. The next is AICTE's 360-degree feedback mechanism. Please appreciate and understand the number of financially funded activities, initiatives which I was speaking in the last 1 hour is towards continuous improvement and developing the capability of faculty members and his competence. This is called as capacity building. Every time a capacity building activity has been done, we need to appreciate and understand that an accountability also needs to be set into a faculty member. And towards understanding and appreciating the accountability, and as per the AICTE's Gazette notification, 1 March 2019, AICTE's 360-degree feedback mechanism has been prepared. AICTE's 360-degree feedback mechanism has been prepared in such a manner that it sees the potential of a teacher, wherein everybody in the institute, be his management, be his peer colleagues, be his student, be his department, be his co-curricular activities, extra activity, additional activities, research-related activities, everything is inbuilt and he is generating or he is given marks wherein it is out of 100, and once the marks are given, it is for the benefit of that particular institute wherein you can see which department faculties are better and within a department which faculty is performing better. This is called as AICTE's 360-degree feedback mechanism. And in case if you people have gone through the Gazette notification, 360-degree feedback mechanism is a mandatory activity required for promotion. Here we have made, AICTE has made a 360-degree portal. So my request to everybody would be that each one of us, should you already be having an inbuilt 360-degree mechanism, very good, fair enough. Try to align it to the requirements of AICTE, or in case if you don't have, then please approach AICTE for the purposes of taking you on board on their 360-degree portal, and that then we will have it enrolled. We will have you registered on 360-degree portal, and you can utilize that portal without any additional efforts and expenditure. Every activity which we have said, whether it's be curriculum development, curriculum revision, execution, whether it's be changes, whether it be general or vocational education, has to lead to final conclusion. And final conclusion is that a student has to undergo evaluation and assessment of whatever he has learned. And whatever he has learned is called as examination. At the end of every semester, we have examinations. Examination concept is a very old concept in our country. We were undergoing this program. This whole thing, what we are having this program today is called as examination reforms. There's a reason as to why examination reforms become that much important. And I was listening to Honorable Vice Chancellor. Sir has hit absolutely the correct point that our system of examination and the evaluation and the assessment is very vintage. Today, the examination concept is purely that the questions are given verbatim, you need to answer without understanding the application or its comprehension, without even understanding the genesis as to what is learning outcomes, how learning outcomes are evaluated, how learning outcomes are even found. What is Bloom's taxonomy or level of difficulty of questions? What is a unit outcome? How unit outcome are having performance indicators? How these performance indicators are then subsequently connected, finally leading to ultimate learning outcomes which are supposed to be there in a particular student at that respective, whether he is a diploma or a UG or a PG. There is certain skill set activities which are mandated that every student be having. Those skill set activities are to be comprehended and are to be present. But how to understand that the student has grasped, that is what is called as an examination. So today, AICTE's examination reforms policy has been made on outcome-based education. That is the most important thing. And I believe you people have already undergone a talk on outcome-based education. AICTE's examination reforms policy is also based on Bloom's taxonomy level of difficulty from 1 to 6. I believe you people have already undergone a talk on Bloom's taxonomy. So this AICTE examination reforms is something which is very important for everybody to understand. Should you be understanding, you should be in a position to frame questions. Mind you, just going through a training program and not executing it and not applying it will not lead to any improvement. Improvement only happens provided after undergoing a training program, you successfully implement it. Go through certain questions, try to frame a question on level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and then try to see how do you relate that questions to the course outcome, to the ultimate unit, and then to the learning outcomes. Try to see at every level what can be the PI in that questions. So these are the various quality initiatives of AICT. I can go on and I can continue speaking on multiple quality initiatives of AICT to include even internship related activities, to include even student inductions program, to include hackathons, to include innovation, to include entrepreneurships, to include startups. There are multiple opportunities which AICT gives. Sir, you're saying something? However, ladies and gentlemen, I think I have mostly covered bulk of the subjects which AICT was doing towards financially funded activities, to start with faculty, then institutes, the students, and then I spoke about quality initiatives. At this, I would like to thank each and everyone for a very, very patient hearing. Brajesh sir, it was a pleasure interacting with you. Avdesh sir, it was a pleasure coming on your platform and be speaking. My sincere request to everybody is that should anybody be having any doubt, clarity, should anybody wish to inquire as to how to avail, what should be the correct manner, you are at liberty to please let me know. And I'm open to all questions. And it was great talking to you, great interacting with you. Best wishes. Jai Hind. Am I audible? The coordinator of the program, am I audible to this particular thing what I have spoken?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Then what I was saying in the last is that I have just finished my talk as far as the various financially funded schemes of AICT were concerned, to include faculty, institute, students, and I also went beyond to speak as to what are the various and multiple quality initiatives. And I am open to any questions, suggestions, remarks. If anybody has anything, any query, any recommendation.
Good afternoon, sir. Dr. Jyoti from MMUT. Sir, I'm very thankful to you for this nice explanation of the things, because I think when we search the AICT website, we are not able to see and understand all these things in less time. And you explained so beautifully that now on my behalf, I'm aware about so many things. Thank you so much, sir, for your nice explanation.
Thank you, ma'am. Jyoti, ma'am, thanks a lot. You're most welcome. However, for the betterment of everybody, I would request that if my mobile number be shared so that it's on WhatsApp, anybody wishes to seek any clarification or wishes to provide any information, you are at liberty to drop a WhatsApp to me.
Okay, sir, shall I share your message in the message box of this?
Sir, you might ask me the question straight away. Sir, you might ask a question straight away, sir.
Okay, sure, sir.
Or if there is something, I would request you to just drop me a WhatsApp message, sir.
Okay, participant, if you have any query, participant side. Participant, if you have any query regarding AICT reforms, anything, if you wish to ask.
Generally speaking, Shekhar sir, people refrain from asking, and it's appreciated. So, but give them an opportunity. Should somebody want to inquire at a later stage, just share my mobile number.
Okay.
So that everybody ask or put any recommendation query or any method should they be wanting to apply at any given time.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir. So, sir, I'm
Grateful,
writing,
sir.
I'm writing your phone number in the message.
Yes, yes, sir. Please do the needful, sir.
Okay, sure, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for sparing your valuable time, sir.
Grateful, grateful, sir, and best wishes to everybody. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a nice talk to you, sir. Participant, I have shared the Colonel Venkat sir number in the message box of this Microsoft team. So this is sir WhatsApp number. Okay. If you have any query regarding AICT, you can directly ask to sir. And after this, I will share one attendance come feedback form to all the participant in the WhatsApp group. Please fill that form by today itself. Thank you very much. So I'm closing this session. We will meet tomorrow sharp at 10 a.m.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Sir, will you share the number on through WhatsApp?
Okay, sir, sure. Number will be shared on WhatsApp group also.
Thank you. And feedback link is also shared with WhatsApp, na ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
हाँ, हाँ।